All right, let's get into it. We are about to unwrap the surprisingly huge history of something you probably have in your pocket or your bag right now: chewing gum. And trust me, it's a story that goes back thousands of years and features ancient foragers, a famous general, a soap salesman, and a whole lot of happy accidents. So, let me start by asking you a question. Forget about big things like fire or farming for just a second. Think smaller. Think, well, more of an oral fixation. What is one of the oldest, most persistent habits we have as a species? I'll give you a hint. You probably don't even think of it as a habit at all. The answer? Chewing. Not just for eating, but just for the sake of chewing itself. And we actually have proof. Just a few years ago, archaeologists in Denmark found a little lump of birch pitch that had been chewed, get this, 5,700 years ago. It was so well preserved they could pull the DNA right out of it and identify the Neolithic woman who chewed it. How wild is that? And you know, this wasn't just a one-off thing. It was happening all over the globe. Long before we had perfectly wrapped sticks of juicy fruit, people everywhere were chewing on natural tree resins. The ancient Greeks chewed something called mastic to keep their teeth clean, while way over in the Americas, the Maya and Aztecs were chewing chicle to freshen their breath and even to stave off hunger. So, how did we get from tree sap to the candy aisle? Well, here's the kicker. Modern chewing gum wasn't invented on purpose. It wasn't some brilliant idea for a new sweet treat. Nope, it was a complete and total accident, born from a failed experiment to make cheap rubber. You have to hear this story, it's just fantastic. It all starts with General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Yes, that Santa Anna from the Alamo. He was living in exile in New York, and he brought a literal ton of that Aztec chicle with him. His big idea was to have an inventor, Thomas Adams, turn it into a cheap substitute for rubber for things like tires. Well, Adams tried everything, but the experiment was a total bust. It just didn't work. But then he noticed Santa Anna was always chewing on the raw chicle, and a light bulb just went off. Instead of making tires, Adams figured, hey, why not just sell this stuff to chew? He added some licorice for flavor, created a machine to mass produce it, and just like that, the first commercially successful chewing gum, Blackjack, hit the market in 1871. A failed rubber experiment accidentally launched a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, so Adams had a product, but gum still wasn't really seen as fun. It was often sold in pharmacies as a kind of digestive aid or a health product. The next big leap for gum was all about changing its public image, and that's where a true marketing genius steps into the story. This slide really captures that massive shift. Before a guy named William Wrigley Jr. came along, you might buy gum to settle your stomach, but after Wrigley, you chewed it because it was fun, it was refreshing, it was a household treat. He didn't invent the product, but he totally reinvented what it meant to people. So how'd he do it? You're gonna love this. Wrigley was originally a soap and baking powder salesman. He started throwing in free packs of chewing gum as a little bonus with his products. Pretty soon, he realized people were buying his soap just to get the free gum. As the quote says, the gum literally became more popular than the soap. He ditched the soap business and, through some of the first ever massive advertising campaigns, made brands like Juicy Fruit and Spearmint completely iconic. All right, so gum is now a household staple, a massive business. The next big innovation was all about making it more fun, the bubble. And, keeping with the theme here, it was another total accident, created by someone you would never, ever expect. The inventor of bubblegum wasn't a candy maker or a chemist. He was an accountant named Walter Dyermer. Back in 1928, he was just tinkering with gum recipes in his spare time and stumbled upon a formula that was way less sticky and way more stretchy than anything before it. It was, perfect for blowing bubbles. And what about that iconic pink color? Pure chance. His creation was originally this ugly, dull gray color, so he just grabbed the only food dye that was sitting on the shelf nearby. It happened to be pink. And that one random choice has defined the color of bubblegum ever since. So now we've got chewing gum and bubblegum, but the very substance of gum, what it's actually made of, was about to go through its single biggest change yet. And this revolution was driven by a global conflict that created a massive demand and an even bigger supply crisis. During World War II, chewing gum was actually included in the rations for American soldiers. The military believed it helped them stay alert, relieve stress, and focus under pressure. The problem was, with demand absolutely exploding, the world's supply of natural chicle from Central America just couldn't keep up. The industry needed a new main ingredient, and it needed one fast. And this is where science stepped in. Chemists got to work and developed synthetic gum bases, mostly using polymers like polyvinyl acetate. Now, let's just be direct about what that is. It's basically a food-grade, chewable plastic. And that is the secret ingredient in almost every single pack of gum you buy today. It's the reason why, no matter how long you chew it, the gum never dissolves or breaks down in your mouth. It's also why it sticks to sidewalks for years. We went from chewing on trees to chewing on a synthetic polymer. And that brings us to today. Gum is now a massive $30 billion global industry. But after decades of using those synthetic bases, something really fascinating is happening. The industry is starting to look backward in order to move forward. First off, gum isn't just a treat anymore. It's become a functional delivery system. We now have gum specifically designed to deliver a jolt of caffeine for athletes, CBD to help with anxiety, and of course, nicotine gum to help people quit smoking. It's become gum with a purpose. But here it is, the most amazing part, the full circle moment. Driven by huge environmental concerns about all that synthetic gum littering our cities, there's a big push for biodegradable gums. And what are these new, eco-friendly gums made from? You guessed it, natural tree resins, just like the chicle the Aztecs were chewing centuries and centuries ago. So think about that journey for a second. From a simple piece of birch pitch chewed in the Stone Age to a synthetic plastic created during a world war, and now all the way back to natural resins again. The human urge to chew is one of our oldest, most enduring habits. It really makes you wonder, after 10,000 years, what's next?